Okay, next up, we have our fiscal tax budget hearing for the Mentor Board of Education. Mr. Wilson, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Briner,
Here.
Mrs. Hassan, or Mr.
Here.
Buckley, absent. Mrs. Hassan, present.
Here.
Ms. Jisling? Ms. Jisling?
You're on mute, Jenny.
Yeah, I muted myself. Present.
Thank you. Mr. Tuttle?
Present.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we have reports of the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Wilson.
Yes. Annually, we are required by Ohio law to conduct a tax budget hearing. And just to give context, this is somewhat an outdated law, and it dates back way back over 90 years ago. Following the Great Depression in 1929, there were some local municipalities that had property tax revenue where the tax revenue was greater than their needs for budget purposes. So a law was instituted to require us to justify the need for the annual collection of property tax levies. Even though they've been authorized by the community, the county treasurer only has authority to collect once it's been documented that there's a need for them to collect all the funds that have been authorized. So accordingly, we comply with the Ohio Revised Code. This was published in the December 21st News Herald agenda as required by law. And we're presenting it to you tonight for consideration and following the hearing to be presented in the regular meeting for adoption and authorization for me to file with the Lake County Budget Commission. Because of the regulatory nature of this, we overestimate our expenses for the two funds that receive tax revenue, the general operating fund and the permanent improvement fund, so that in the event that there are delinquent tax collections or other unexpected collections exceeding the normal amounts, that we've demonstrated a need to use those funds. Accordingly, we increased the general fund budget by $10 million, recognizing that we do have deferred maintenance needs throughout the district that we would fund sooner if the monies were available. And the same thing with the permanent improvement fund, we added an additional $500,000 with the understanding that if funds were available, there are permanent improvement projects that could be done. We believe that will protect the district and allow for full collection of the voter authorized millage amounts. As always, I remind the board that we have a very thorough budgeting process that will begin in the spring, and it's guided by the 5-year forecast, so that while we recognize in a tax budget best case scenario, the actual spending will be determined by our normal budgeting process and adherence to board policies. So having said that, the only thing required tonight is to accept any comments from the board or the community concerning the tax budget. And once we've had that opportunity for comments, we can conclude the tax budget hearing. And again, in the regular agenda, and then we'll ask for authorization to file it. So any questions or comments?
No, Dan, that's good. It's customary. Mary and I both understand that, and I believe Ginny's heard that before. We need to do that. And if we didn't, we could lose revenue that they would collect that is unexpected. We
Correct.
should get it. Yeah.
Correct.
It's a good explanation, Dan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Dan, do we need to vote on this?
No. We
Okay.
will do that during the regular meeting, and the tax budget hearing is simply an opportunity to receive comments or questions from the public and the board. So if there's no other comments or questions, you could ask for a motion to adjourn.
And I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Please call the roll.
Mr. Tuttle,
Yes.
Mrs. Hassan,
Yes.
Ms. Jisling,
yes.
Mrs. Briner.
Yes.